Hello family, I hope anyone who likes my videos to support me by subscribing to my channel. Please give me the energy to make more effort into videos. Thank you for your support family, and let's start our movie recap. Our movie begins with a woman's suitcase is removed, showing that she is in a room with a male. Her game master, who prepares the scene before the game begins, is this man. The game master responds to the player's query about whether the bag over her head was essential by explaining that according to the game's legal requirements, their whereabouts must remain a secret. The game master demands that they not exchange names when the player requests to know his name. She is reminded that there are 20 participants in the game, and there are 5 preliminary rounds before the finals. A player forfeits nothing if they give up during the first round. If they get to the finals, they must stay in the game and are not free to do so. He is reassured by the player that she won't give up. The game master responds that gamblers would place bets on anything when she remarks that it's strange for anyone to wager on something like this. The player inquires as to if the prize money is indeed $1 million, and he replies in the affirmative. The man then pulls out a candle. The game master responds that it is not yet time for that since the player is perplexed because she assumed there would be a gun involved. When another guy comes, the player inquires as to whether she has already met him. He tells the game master that the woman's test came back negative, proving that she is not using any drugs that improve performance. The game master urges her to reveal her secrets after telling her that the sponsors can see them through the cameras but cannot hear them minutes before the game. The player, however, asserts that she doesn't because all of her errors are obvious. The game master then lights the candle and instructs the participants that the first round will consist of them placing their hands over the flame until 3 players give up. She becomes uneasy as a result, but he assures her that she still has the option to withdraw. The player, though, asserts that she has nowhere to go. The game master reveals that he has a son after she inquires about his family. She wonders how he'd feel if his child were taken away from him while knowing it was the proper thing to do. Her voice cracking, she implies that winning money is the only course of action at this moment in order to provide her daughter the life she deserves. The game master points out that he wouldn't put his life in danger for money, but the player feels as though it is the only purpose left for her life at this time. The game master informs her that they are all in this together after hearing this. He dodges the inquiries when she inquires about his playing experience. The game finally begins. The player extends her hand over the candle while trembling in agony. Even though the flame burns her palm, she manages to contain her sobs until the game master verifies via his headset that 3 other players have given up. The game master congratulates her as the first round is over. He attends to her wound while admitting that he has hosted the game 14 times but has never participated in it. The game master responds that there were none when the woman inquires about the number of winners he had entertained. Before the finals, the majority of the players quit, and some even blow their brains out. The game master responds that knowing who the others are won't improve the player's prospects when the player inquires about them. After all, the only thing she needs to overcome is her perseverance. The player wonders why he continues to do it if he claims to despise what he sees. Everyone does something that is bad for them, the game master notes. The game master informs her that the positive aspect of the game is that it transforms her before they begin the second round. If they haven't already met, the player asks again, but he remains silent. The game master says that she must put her bare right foot inside the box for the second round a little while later while another man sets a wooden box on the ground. The initial 3 players to give up are out. The game master reminds the player of her kid when she tries to leave out of fear for what's within. When she replies that she is not scared of rats, he makes it seem as though she is. He receives word just then that a player withdrew, which gives the woman additional justification to carry on. The woman steps into the box while supporting herself with the game master's hand. The game master then takes down the partition at the organizer's signal. She jumps when she feels a rodent on her foot. The player starts to freak out since she can't see what's going on until the rat starts biting her, and she starts screaming in pain. The game master advises her to hang on since a player just submitted their surrender when she wants to. She receives focus 8 from the game master until the final player gives up. She removes her bloodied foot from the box and gives the game master a bear hug. She is surprised when the game master kisses her feet and cares for her wounds. He gives her a bottle of water to drink while they wait after getting a notification to stand by. The player inquires once again about how she came to know him, but he changes the subject to her intentions in the event that she triumphs. He makes the suggestion that she take care of herself or go someplace wonderful with her daughter and her boyfriend. Given that she is no longer dating her daughter's father, the player laughs this aside. The game master then advises dating a decent guy, but she wonders why everyone believes that a man can solve all of a woman's concerns. The player assumes he is offering himself because he believes she just hasn't found the appropriate man. The game master teases her by speculating what may happen if he proposed to her after she exits the game. He maintains that she still has a deep-seated belief in love. It's time for the third round, which features an identical box, but this time, until 3 players tap out, screws will be put into her left foot. As the game starts, the game master hammers painfully into her foot. This continues for many minutes, dripping her blood across the box's side. She screams in agony but finds her confidence and keeps going till she faints. She hears the announcement that the game is done, and the game master takes the screws out of her foot between the windows of her consciousness. The game master has already bandaged the player's foot when she awakens. When she agrees to his proposition after he questions her about it, he kisses her. He also slips a painkiller into her hand covertly. The conversation about getting married later ends when the woman insults him by playfully asking whether he'll live off her money. Following this unpleasant incident, they discuss the organizers. The game master contends that they are human behavior researchers in contrast to the woman's assertion that they must be weirdos. She ought to be appreciative of him and the game's creators. He continues, she would have been in the streets while her daughter was placed with terrible guardians if she hadn't heard about it. The game master suddenly chuckles and claims to be joking. In the 4th round, the player is put up against a water-filled tank. The game master says that if she wishes to surrender, she must drop the bullet he provides her. He will hold her head underwater. She hesitates when he asks if she believes in him. After 3 players are eliminated, the game master teases and tells her that he won't keep her head submerged, which makes her doubtful. She consequently says what he wants to hear, even claiming to love him. 2 players have already tapped out before they can start the game, compelling them to do so. Just before the game master pushes the player's head into the water, she takes a big breath. She briefly loses consciousness after that and has a dream about her daughter. The player hears the game master say, "I love you," prompting her to turn while she is observing her daughter by the lake. Her daughter is already gone as she turns around, presumably into the ocean. She gets roused to wake awake by this. While her head is submerged, she can feel the game master prodding around her body. She tries to drop the bullet to give herself up but is unable to do so because the bullet only exists in her imagination. She quickly loses consciousness once more, and the game master removes her from the tank. He chuckles since he believed she had passed away as she coughs up water. The player explains that she swallowed the bullet to prevent dropping it in response to his question about why she didn't let go of it. The game master remarks that she might have been more appealing with a little more effort as she wipes herself off. He encourages her to thank him for the praise if she doesn't want to, but she dodges the question. She doesn't like it, but she thanks him. The game master abruptly inquires as to how many guys she has slept with, claiming that her future spouse ought to be aware. She eventually says that she lost track after being offended. He becomes enraged by this and moves closer to her, caressing her until she smacks his hand away. He gives her a backslap before accusing her of forcing him to do it. The game master finds it ludicrous when she tells him that he shouldn't do anything he wants since she asked him to do it. She claims she is remaining for her daughter despite his insistence that she is free to go at any time. She is still present since they should be together. He shouts at her. He then gives her a hard kiss till one of his coworkers comes in and sets a bag down on the table. The game master advises her to think about continuing their connection after he departs because it could be her only opportunity to have sex with a whole body. For the 5th round, where she will be required to cut her own fingers, the game master opens the bag and hands the participant a jar and knife. He provides some pills before the game starts, but the player gives him back the one he provided before, demonstrating her capacity. The woman lays the blade on her finger to start the game. Later, with her 3 amputated fingers in the jar, the player embraces her damaged hand. Although the game isn't done yet, the game master finds it amusing that she has progressed thus far. The player tries to put the blade on her hand once again against her will but is unable to. She struggles to rise up while sobbing and walks over to the door. The game master cautions her that giving up now will mean that all she gave up will be for nothing. The game master abruptly reveals that 3 players just resigned, finishing the game. The player continues to pound on the door to ask the others to open it. The player still desires to use the restroom outside. She ultimately collapses in the restroom by herself, Terrified by what she had just been through, she takes a necklace out of her pocket to serve as a reminder of her motivation for playing the game. The player gathers her confidence and enters the room again, determined to defend her daughter. She discovers the game master admiring her amputated fingers and requesting permission to keep them as a memento. The game master informs the player that the last round will consist of a game of Russian roulette versus the 4 other survivors when she notices the pistol on the table and chooses to ignore him. The player claims she has known him previously as she continues to stare at him. She mentions that she has known him all of her life and contrasts him with all the other guys who have caused her misery. She reminds him of all the ladies who use their attractiveness as a means of advancement. The game master says he is made fun of by the player, who claims that he has discovered the ideal profession for him to realize his cruel desires. He accuses her of wanting him to smack her since she knows she deserves it after giving her 2 slaps as a result of this. This time, though, the player chuckles because he still believes he can harm her after everything she has been through in the game. The player continually smacks herself as evidence. The game master takes the pistol in wrath and attempts to shoot her in the head, but the weapon is empty. She informs him, though, that she is not afraid of him. The game master commands her to take a seat so that the game may continue. The game master responds that he will shoot her dead if she decides to leave before the player asks what would happen if she does. The game master announces that all 5 players will pull the trigger simultaneously at their signal as the final round starts. They must keep doing this until only 4 players remain. The woman waits for the signal, holds her breath, and then pulls the trigger. Fortunately, she survives the opening round, and another person passes away, leaving 4 more participants. After each round, the game master takes the bullet out of the barrel to adjust its location. The game master makes a remark about how he'd love to see her crack before she dies while they wait. The notion that her suffering would earn her some cosmic karma to receive what she deserves is mocked by him. He maintains that suffering has no benefit and is just painful. She is told that no one would know when she passes away as he replaces the bullet in the barrel. She responds, though, that it won't matter because she will already be dead. The second round starts and the game master startles her intentionally when she presses the trigger. She does, however, survive, and a different player is out. She says 29 since that is how many times she survived when she practiced alone when the game master asks her how many rounds she anticipates surviving. She fires the gun as soon as the 3rd round starts. She survives once more, but no one else is eliminated. The game master says that this will be the shot that will kill her as he reloads the weapon. Although the other 2 players have equal chances, the odds are once more in the woman's advantage. All 3 players are still alive after 12 rounds. The game master continues by telling the player that having a crazy mother like her would definitely be worse for her daughter than being poor without a mother. The player contends that she must survive in order to demonstrate real love to her daughter. Just then, the game's host quips that he'll locate her daughter when it's finished. The game master soon receives word that the regulations have been modified by the organizers. He then hands her the revolver after adding another round to the chamber. She pulls the trigger despite her anxiety and life. When she asks if anyone had been eliminated, the game master replies that one has, leaving her and 1 more person in the game. He does, however, imply that he may be making everything up as the only information she has about the game comes from him. The player becomes confused by this and asks the game master to show that there is indeed just 1 player left. The game master commands her to fire the gun despite her refusal. He shouts at her to put the pistol away while the player does it. The lady does so and pulls through once more, but he issues a warning that she will be shot dead if she disobeys once more, showing that he too is armed. The lady claims that he failed to mention if the other player survived as he inserts another round to the barrel. The game master, who is the lone participant, just implies that it's possible that the game is fictitious. The game master hands the pistol with 3 rounds inside to start a new round. The lady puts the pistol on her head, thinking that the game could be rigged after all, and points it toward the game master. She shoots in response to the game master's dare. He has time to overturn the table and flee, but the barrel is empty. She opens fire as he runs away, but she just expends her ammunition. She picks up the pistol that the game master, fortunately, dropped on his way out. A member of the game master's staff walks into the room, but the player kills him with a gun. When a second man walks in, the lady pretends she's dead until she can shoot him. The game master suddenly charges at her and chokes her. She tries to escape his hold but stops when she sees the jar with her severed fingers. In an effort to extricate herself, she grabs it and throws it at his head. The game master cries out for assistance as she rises up after seeing that he has a piece of glass stuck in his neck. In an attempt to win her compassion, He tells her that he has a kid, but the player simply replies that the boy is better off without him, leaving the game master to perish. The woman surveys the space and her own actions. She takes up the game master's headset after seeing it on the ground and begins to listen. She learns that she won the game, much to her astonishment. This is how our movie ends. Leave us a comment on how you found this movie recap. See you in the following movie recap.